Hey, should be live. Let me know if it's working, if it's not working, but I mean, it should be working. And then we're good to go. Okay. Should say, even though it's interesting. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin and then we'll move on to the altcoins because I think everyone is interested in the altcoins right now. People are already talking about alt season and that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about it, see what's up. Yeah. What's up, fellow top longest? Yeah, Dixie. That's what we're doing. But yeah, before we start, big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Their links are in the description if you do want to check them out. Really appreciate their support. And yeah, very happy to have them as a sponsor. Hey Don, how is it going? Good. How are you? It's been a busy few days. Been looking at apartments and that kind of stuff a lot. And yeah, we'll see. And then obviously the market's been wild, even though I haven't had much time to do anything really. Rude, I'm actually the bottom shorter. I mean, that's a good thing as well, right? We started that Discord at the bottom for a reason. But yeah, so we start with Bitcoin. High time frames. I mean, I don't even need to talk about it anymore, right? I've been saying this for I don't know how long now. This support resistance here flipped. We've gone up ever since, right? So that's why I'm always saying high time frames, don't ignore them. This simple support resistance flip got you the biggest move of of the last few years pretty much, if you take this as a range, right? So break out of this, it's been going up ever since. And as long as we're trading above 14K, high time frames look good, right? So no problems there. That's the monthly chart. And then the weekly chart, there's pretty much the same thing, right? So I've been saying 14K last resistance, afterwards who knows where this goes, right? And that's the line in the sand. You don't want to lose that. So far, isn't really looking like we're going to lose 14K. If anything, looks like a good pullback target, right, for a trade. But even then, like the further we move away from it, right? Like let's say we're getting these typical big retracements on Bitcoin. We've had those in the past, 30, 40%. We've had them multiple times in the past, here, all the way, right? All the way up. If we get that again, the higher we go, the higher the price will end up, even if we retrace, right? So, I mean, even if we put in the top here, exactly here, which I'm not saying we have, but even if we did, I mean, a 30% retrace would go to 14K, which is pretty high price level still, right? And a 40% retrace would take us back to 11K. So, yeah, that's pretty positive. It's pretty positive. It's been breaking out. The funniest chart that I've seen, that I've been watching, and where you can kind of see what's happening in general in the Bitcoin market, is the 3-day chart. You don't even need to be a genius to kind of see what this is. This is what happens when just someone tries to get a fill, no matter what, right? And seen that happen on altcoins. It's kind of funny to see it on Bitcoin. This seems like there's a larger player that's just trying to get filled and taking any liquidity that they can get. So it's not only parabolic, like a few of you have rightfully pointed out. It's also, you can see that there's abnormal buying going on, right? It's not just, okay, this market is flowing normally. It's just huge money that comes into this, and we'll see how it ends up, right? I mean, whenever you have a parabolic movement, the retrace is going to be quick and painful, right? But given that price is already so high, I mean, even if it retraces, what's the harm, right? The only people that get fucked by a retrace at this point are the high leverage traders and pretty much no one else. Don sounds like you missed much of this rally. Lol, joke Don. I mean, I've been pretty lucky with how I've treated this because I've just been mainly in Bitcoin, and I mean, Bitcoin's gone up, so that's pretty good for me. Spot wise, like investment wise, I mean, I missed a lot of this as an investment, but my entire trading portfolio been stuck in Bitcoin, and I mean, I couldn't be happy about it. So, I mean, this is still fucking amazing. It's just, I wish I was long with like huge leverage, whatever. But I mean, it's not a prerequisite to make money, right? Somehow people seem to think that you have to leverage long or leverage short every single move. When Bitcoin 2x's, you don't really have to, right? I haven't hedged at all. I've taken a few hedges at resistances, and then I mean, the good thing is I can kind of judge which resistances are going to be traded, right? So I took hedges at resistance, price moved away, and then I was just like, okay, if it goes back up there, probably going to rip, and then just took paper cuts on those or closed them in profit. So, I mean, this has been pretty nice for me. I've just been chilling. And I mean, that's my favorite way to do anything in crypto, really, when you're just chilling. And I've been saying this is kind of the reason why it can be relatively relaxed. The 3-day chart, you saw some guy or like some whatever it is trying to get filled on it, right? So, I mean, until that stops, price is probably going to go up, right? And you're going to see that stop. And the only way it's going to stop is if it breaks support, right? So you can kind of see it stopping either on the charts or you just follow Coinbase because that's where the buying keeps happening. But yeah, if you're just following the charts, I mean, you just wait till one of the supports gets broken, right? And I said this, I started saying it here. If this rolls over, breaks the support, it's fucked. But until that happens, no reason to be too scared. And then it broke out. And then the same thing happened here. You have a support. If that gets broken, the thing probably rolls over and takes a pretty steep dive, right? Didn't happen. Price moved higher. So we've been doing this over and over and over again. And until it stops, I mean, why panic, right? There's no reason to. And the thing is, and I said this last stream as well, yes, you're going to obviously take a paper cut, or not even paper cut, but a real cut the moment it actually starts breaking down, because that's going to be violent, right? The thing is, you could guess that it's going to break down here, and then you just short it, and then it moves higher, and you're like, fuck, what do I do now, right? And then you do the same here and the same here, or you can just wait until one of these breaks and then actually get in for the second leg. And I think that's the most reasonable thing to do. And that's how I'm going to play it anyway. I'm going to stick with my be lazy, do nothing approach with regards to Bitcoin. Make money by doing nothing. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. And then see how it goes, right? See if we can actually break a support or not. And if we break a support, I think in general, let's say we break this support, probably going to break it, retrace higher, and then have like a big leg from there, right? So the second leg is probably going to be bigger, going to be more violent than the first one. But the thing is, could happen from here. And I said this like the last weeks over and over and over again. Could happen from here where it breaks down. Could happen from here where it breaks down. Or it could just happen from who the fuck knows, right? I don't know when these people are going to stop buying. And I'm not going to assume I know in advance, right? So I'm going to keep watching it, see what Coinbase is doing, see what these people are doing, see if we can hold supports. And yeah, if we do hold them, let's go. He got liquidated from 9K but doesn't have the balls to admit it. I mean, I've been very, very open with my trades. So, I mean, you can watch back all the videos. I turned bullish here, or at least neutral. So I've not been really shorting since down here. But yeah, believe what you want to believe. I don't really care. It's just annoying that the fact that, yeah, I don't know. I said monthly support, don't short into it. You know, people are acting like I've been bear-hearted all the way. I don't know. Don was short since 9K, just doesn't want to admit it. It is so fucking weird, man. How do you spot the Coinbase price? You have to find out on your own. Not gonna share that. I mean, you can research it and you can find out if you really try. If not, just watch this. Watch these supports. How do you spot, I've already answered this. Just under 21K is the measured move of the COVID March 2020 low. The thing is, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. When you have something like this happen, right? And when you have something like this happen, it just matters where the fuck they stop buying. Like, you can draw anything you really want, and people have been drawing like pretty much anything that you can imagine. It all doesn't matter. If you have like a guide that just wants to fill whatever his size is, and he's just gonna keep buying till he's fully filled at whatever price he can get. I mean, you can draw lines. That guy is not gonna look at lines. It's not how it works. Donna, are you still sick? Feeling better? No, I feel much better. Much better. Not really sick. I've been around a lot, but that's pretty much it. You're right, in lines mean little, but that's my ballpark. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine. I'm just like, that's just my opinion anyway, right? I think the reason why I think this matters is because it kind of signifies the stop of buying, right? The moment the buying stops, you're going to see it on the chart in the sense that you actually get supports that break. But yeah, Bitcoin, we've gone over that. Any questions? I mean, I could answer like one more thing, like the blow off thing, right? So a lot of people see this parabola, and I mean, if you look at this, right, this is pretty crazy, but it's not been putting in a blow off top, right? Even if you put it on the lock chart, this isn't really the crazy candle that you usually get in a blow off top. This is what you usually get in a blow off top, right? So if you're just waiting for that, I don't think it's happened yet. We'll see. I mean, this rally is in itself is kind of crazy. This is not normal. And yeah, we'll see what happens once that person is done buying, or like that institution or whoever it is. I don't know. Create analysis thread. Cheers. No problem, man. No problem. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. I think it's pretty straightforward. There's no real reason to panic until the support breaks. And then even then, it's not really a reason to panic because, I mean, that's kind of the only thing that you can prepare for right now, right? You're preparing for support to break, but you're not acting until one does. And with the altcoins, now I think we talk about the altcoins because that's, I think, what most people are interested in. So ETH, right? One of the ones where I have to say, this was one of the ones where I was actually wrong, in my opinion. I mean, not just in my opinion. I've just generally been wrong. Expected this resistance to hold, just based on the fact that this is a pattern that plays out like a million times in the crypto markets. Just didn't happen, and blew to the upside. So until that is broken again, like the 400 area, this is just bullish, and we'll see where it goes, right? ETH USD isn't really too bearish of a chart, just based on the fact that even the high time frames starting to break out. I mean, if you're expecting in the next 5 days for it to dump all the way back down to 400, then we can talk about a bearish chart. Until then, not really. I mean, I've been cautious on ETH the moment we started flipping this weekly level into support. That's something that you can watch. Like whenever you have like one time frame, you're like, holy shit, this is super bearish. And you look at another and looks pretty good, then it might be time to be at least a little bit cautious, or be ready to cut when you see it going the opposite way. But yeah, it's held this low, moving to the high. Are we gonna get there? It kind of seems crazy, 800, but then again, I think this entire rally seems crazy, so who knows? I don't. So I'm just gonna assume it's bullish. I'm not gonna touch it though, just based on the fact that there's not really any structure that you can touch it other than like the 400. Like this was fine on the weekly chart, but didn't agree with the monthly. So I have no idea how I could trade this. So whenever I do that, like whenever that happens, I just stay away. And even more so, and I mean, that's pretty much most of this, like this recent rally here. ETH BTC isn't actually too bullish just yet. So ETH BTC at resistance right now, put in like a pretty sizable wick into the news event, which is ETH 2.0. And I want to see how this turns out. I don't want to be the guy that is longing the one thing that's gone up for the last few weeks to months, when I can just get something else that hasn't, and in the end, like, and still looks good. Because this, I mean, it's not bad, held support, rallied into resistance, but it's not really something where I get too excited about it. Still, ETH USD, I mean, obviously mega pumped. I attribute that to the Bitcoin rally. ETH BTC, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not really stellar either. And pun not intended, but we'll talk about XLM. If you remember, if you remind me, we'll talk about XLM as well. But yeah, I think there's other ones that are more interesting to me anyway. But then again, like if you're super bullish on ETH, I think there's fair play to be had where you just retard long into resistance, which is completely fine. Excuse my language. If you're like super bull and then just expect this to break out and have your targets wherever, like maybe up here, whatever. I think that's a fine trade to take. It's just one where you long into resistance. But then you would have this inverse head and shoulder. Like that's the bet when you're betting on the inverse head and shoulder to play out. Generally speaking, something that I've noticed in the crypto markets, or like in general in a lot of markets, is when you have a very obvious pattern, right? And it kind of looks like this, you get a pullback, you're almost always going to get a bounce from here, right? The question is it actually going to have a follow through or not? And that's what's going to be answered here on ETH. I don't know. And I'm even more worried about it not having any follow through based on the monthly chart. Because I've been saying, look at the monthly chart and see if this can actually break out or not. And so far, it's not done so. And we're bound to close soon. And if this continues like this, I wouldn't be too bullish on it. Because then it'd be a monthly bearish. And I mean, it could be wrong, obviously. Sometimes signals don't play out the way you expect them to, right? But this is clearly resistance. And then you'd have the monthly at resistance, the weekly at resistance, and that wouldn't be good. So I'll keep on watching it, see what happens. But yeah, so far it's the one thing that I don't necessarily wanna catch. Thanks on long resistance. I mean, that's fine. I think it's fine. Like, it's a fine play. It's not one that I'm gonna take, but I wouldn't judge anyone for doing so. Why don't you focus on the indices, total and total 2? Because I think they're pretty bad ways to look at the market. They don't really mean anything. You can't trade them. They're filled with other stuff that isn't really relevant. I just don't think they're relevant at all. But a lot of people disagree, and that's fine, but I'm just not interested. I don't think they're important. It can play out like ETH. Yeah, that's true, right? That's in general something in trading. Just because one signal failed you doesn't mean every single one is gonna fail you, right? And they're not always gonna play out. But this could play out the same way ETHUSD has, which is just break through afterwards, even though it's close bearish at resistance. Could do so, but I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna short this. I don't think I haven't really been thinking about shorting any of this. I've just been thinking, okay, do I want to long into resistance here? And the answer has been so far no, on ETH anyway. I've traded Doge a little bit and dipped my toes into some of the other altcoins, but not too much. So that's ETH, right? Monthly at resistance, I want to see that creep above in the next 5 days. That'd be pretty swell, because if that happened, it's a pretty easy long, right? Let's say we close up here. I think that's an easy long to take, and you just target way higher. And then there's a good probability that it actually does break out. So in this sense, I'd actually prefer to long it higher than long it lower. But that's just me. Litecoin, it's one of the ones that I'm watching as well. I really want to get along Litecoin, but I mean, I don't really see a reason to exchange Bitcoin for Litecoin just yet, based on the fact that we just had another bearish retest, right? One thing to note is that we've had one retest here, and generally Litecoin only retests once, not twice, right? So you get like one bearish retest and then it dumps off. In this case, I mean, we can even draw this in. In this case, we've got this one major rejection here, and then it pulled away. In this case, you've had actually 2 closes, right? So maybe that's where it starts changing, but the Bitcoin pairs, I mean, on ETH and Litecoin, it's not really too promising. And that sounds crazy to a lot of people that have just been watching the USD pairs, right? The thing is, right, if you're longing the USD pairs, that's all well and good, but you could also just margin long Bitcoin. If you prefer longing these altcoins because you have a better setup, that's completely fine, I think anyway. But yeah, if you compare them to Bitcoin, they're not really like ETH and Litecoin. They've not really shown any strength so far. I mean, ETH a little bit, Litecoin definitely not. But if this changes, and it could very well change if we start closing back above here, then we could see an explosive rally, right? And I'd like that. So, I mean, there's the big difference between USD and BTC pairs. And the USD pairs are obviously all looking great because Bitcoin just doubled. So the USD pairs all look good because how could they not? The only major difference, or like the one coin that has pulled away from everything, and it's definitely not BCH, because BCH still looks terrible. This isn't really the bounce that I was looking for. But it's a start, right? Let's say we get a pullback next week, and I see sentiment turn really bearish, and funding maybe being on my side, maybe I take a stab at it, but it's not really too pretty, right? It hasn't reclaimed anything. It's just a temporary break from just mega dumping, right? So Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, so far, these two have just temporarily paused their descent. And they need to do a lot more to kind of turn it back bullish, right? The one exception is XRP, which has just been mega mooning. It's pretty nice that it's happened from my support resistance level. It's not so nice that I'm not long. But I've heard a lot of people from the chat and a lot of people that have been following me just longed it. So very happy to hear that. Very happy to be of help. This is one of the ones where I just, missed the boat. Happens. But yeah, that's a mega moon and a half. I want to see this weekly close above 329. So like 3,290 sats. That'd be pretty nice. For it to get out of this range. But in general, I think this range boundary down here, or even like this cluster top here, should be interesting, right? If this is one of the ones where XRP just bleeds out after a mega step up, and I mean, we've seen that a million times, right? If that is one of those, I want to see how it goes, like how it reacts to these support levels. To maybe get into a position. And the good thing about that is, and this is why I usually say, I mean, you can just wait for the range reclaim, whatever, to happen. Because the good part about all of this is, let's say it retraces back down here, right? Where a lot of people would call for doom. You have a pretty nice risk reward setup there for a second leg. And then you can just take it to the next resistance, right? But then after all, it's still XRP, so I wouldn't expect too much. And a friend of mine told me, I don't know, I haven't checked if it's true, but a friend of mine told me that XRP is pretty much near all-time high based on the fact that they have such a high inflation that, market cap is just going up. The longer the time, like the more time passes, the more XRP gets released, the bigger the market cap is, obviously. So haven't checked if that's true. Should be. I mean, I think the inflation rate of XRP is like 20% per year. So it's pretty crazy. So the fact that it's mooned this much means in relative terms, it's mooned a shitload. It just, you don't really notice it as an investor, right? But the people from the foundation, they should be really happy because their share just got a lot bigger. So yeah, I mean, XRP, pretty insane move. I just want to see it close above resistance and then see how support holds. I'm going to look at this very, very closely. And the fact, like a lot of people have shit talked me for just saying I'm looking at these coins and I like to look at these coins. The fact of the matter is, and this is something I said last stream before this mega moon happened, I'd much rather buy XRP at cycle low. That's what I said last stream, literally. Then I would buy Link at the cycle top. It's just my personal preference. And I mean, this move kind of validated it, even though like I didn't actually long it. So I mean, I'm the idiot, right? But yeah, it's kind of obvious, right? You get like a mega pump from one coin, and you get a mega dump to support from the other in a market where fundamentals don't really matter. The potential upside of those, even more so when the market caps get really high, it just makes a lot of sense to focus on the ones that are actually at cycle lows in comparison to the ones that are at cycle highs. It's kind of what I've been doing. Any kind of long that I've been taking on the altcoins, I've just been shorting Link to make the exposure a little bit less severe. And I mean, Link's just been doing absolutely shit. Like, look at this. This is the altcoin bounce on Link. These two candles in comparison to XRP. And I've been saying this for ages now. If you're Link Marine, whatever, I mean, if you're investing in it, it doesn't really matter what my opinion is. But as a trader, I think this has gone through its cycle. And you'd be happy and lucky to kind of get a nice bounce. Like I was hoping for this so I could short it again. But now that I'm actually like looking at other altcoins, I can just short it wherever, because I think in the end, Link is going to be outperformed by the altcoins, even if this goes up, right? Let's say the altcoins go mega bullish, like all of the altcoins go mega bullish. I still think Link is going to do less than a lot of the other altcoins. So just a nice place to hedge, in my opinion. But I mean, the Link Marines are gonna hate me for it, and I mean that could turn out completely wrong. I have stops in place for this, so don't just blindly copy and think that that's gonna be the play. But for me, it kind of makes a lot of sense, so I'm just doing that. And I don't know if you guys remember from my stream back at like $8, $9 on Link, where I was like, people asked me where I would short Link, and I said $15. And I mean, we're there right now. So I don't mind that setup. And then just hedge it. Like that's pretty much a hedge on the other altcoins. And if it turns out wrong, right, it stops out, and I don't really mind, because if it turns out wrong, the other altcoins are going to go up as well. So yeah, that's my view on those. Those are all the big ones, right? TRX is one of the ones where it's kind of, this is kind of the thing that I'm worried about for XRP, right? Where you get a mega pump and then just a mega dump afterwards. That's the one thing that has been continuously happened, like that has continuously happened for the altcoins for all of eternity, basically. Like since 17, that's been the name of the game. You pump it up into resistance, it's just mega dumps, right? I hope that's not going to happen. The way to kind of spot this, that's going to happen is just you see closes at resistance and then you just de-risk. You can't really predict this. I mean, this one was a little bit easier because it was just a classic bearish retest. XRP is a little bit different in this sense, where it's actually pumped so much that it's not a bearish retest. Otherwise, it would have stopped down here, but it's actually broken back into its range. So looks a lot better than TRX did back a few weeks back. But I mean, this could happen for XRP as well. So you gotta always be prepared. Have your risk on a tight leash. So yeah, that is that. So there's at least some movements there, right? And the good thing is, if you're following the BTC pairs, there's not as much movement, and but there's a lot of movement on the USD pairs. So if you're trading the USD pairs, you're having a blast. And I mean, I'm a little bit jealous because I'm mainly focused on the Bitcoin pairs. I think they're more relevant to the overall kind of market direction, but they're not where the massive gains are right now. The massive gains are in the USD pairs as long as Bitcoin keeps going up. The moment Bitcoin stops going up, that's gonna change, right? But until that changes, I mean, why expect it to change, right? And then we have BAT, and this is the kind of stuff that gets me a little worried, because yes, we dumped, and yes, we dumped pretty hard, but we never capitulated, right? I was hoping for a massive capitulation event. Yes, it held support, and yes, it's bouncing from that support. But I think there's a good chance that we're only gonna get a bounce to like maybe here, and then we continue the dumpage. I don't really like stuff that looks like this does. I mean, that is very rarely how bottom looks like. And I could be wrong on that front. I'm going to be wrong the moment we actually start closing back above here. And I've been saying this for a long while, right? I just want to see it reclaim something. And it's not done that. So I don't have to get involved, right? I've been saying it here when we lost this. I was like, okay, now you have a pretty nice invalidation for bearishness, as in it goes back above this level. It didn't, right? It broke the next one. And now you have the same kind of situation again, where it's like, yeah, this could go up, but I want to see it actually do something first. And the doing something part would be this, actually reclaiming something, actually reclaiming a support. And that's what I want to see. We've kind of seen it on XRP, but we've not seen it on anything else. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. And the same thing with DOGE. A lot of people have been... This has been a little bit frustrating because I don't know if I can blame you guys or if it's just unlucky. But yeah, I mean, I've been broadcasting my bids for a while. Try to discourage other people from buying into my bids. Didn't have, just nothing worked, right? So had some bids low, not big bids, but some bids. And yeah, on some exchanges, Dogecoin went to 15. On the most exchanges, just didn't. So I only got filled a little and then took a little bit of a pump and then just sold again. Reason why I'm selling, or why I sold a while ago now, is, I mean, you can just see it, right? This is massive resistance here. And it's not really a V reversal. It's not really a reversal with massive strength behind it. So I'm more than happy to just wait for it to kind of reclaim that. So I want to see a reclaim of 22 sats or just get my bids filled below 15. And this time I'm going to be, yeah, a little bit more secretive. But yeah, I'm going to not bid 15 again because, I mean, one thing that I hate, right, when you have a dump into support is when it doesn't quite go to the support that you're looking for, and then it actually returns to that support. I don't necessarily like those kind of deals. In that instance, right, if it does something like that, I'd much rather buy the breakout here. And I pay a little bit more, but I feel much more relaxed because in that sense, there's less risk involved. I know exactly where I don't want it to go, which would be down here. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy 15 again. Gonna buy lower or higher. Sushi lover exactly in the green after years. Okay for an investor, maybe not for a trader. I mean, it depends, right? Yeah. If you're trading something and you're stuck in a position and it is supposed to be a trade and you're stuck in a position for 3 years and was never meant to be like that, you're doing something wrong because you can't use that capital for something else. Whereas if you're investing into something and you wait for 3 years and you're actually in profit, you're doing something right? Your initial thesis is playing out, but yeah, obviously depends on kind of your outset and your idea behind what you've been doing. So yeah. What about Wi-Fi BTC? Is the cycle done as well? I think the Wi-Fi, I think so. This one I'm not entirely sure about. I'm on Link, I'm pretty sure. You heard me about this, talking about this last stream, right? I was like, even if this goes up, which it very well could, I'm not expecting it to do much. I think it's through its cycle. And I still think that. I think it's through its cycle. You're going to be just looking at this, you're going to be lucky if you get two Bitcoin for your Wi-Fi. It's one of the ones where I'm if I didn't have Link, which is much more comfy for me to kind of hedge and hedge my bets with, I'd be looking at Wi-Fi. Yes. I just think there's less upside on this based on its position in its cycle than on other coins. But I could be completely wrong on that. So I much rather focus on the one where I'm pretty sure and not on the one where I'm not entirely sure. Even more so based on the fact that Link actually has a really nice invalidation for me. Paid group leader dumping on followers, stuck getting front run by free YouTube channel. Love it. Yeah, dude. That was so frustrating. I was looking at it and I was like, fucking hell, man. So yeah, only got my front running bits filled, nothing else. And yeah, at least I had that. So I made a nice 30% move on Doge. but with much less of a position than I wanted to. Because something, and I mean, in general, something that you can kind of look for is when you have a really, really strong support level, right? And you hit it after years and years, and you're still bearish, right? You have a support level, test it a million times, and then it does something like this and tests it again, right? The chance of it breaking are very, very low, at least on the first try. Usually what happens is it approaches it and then bounces and then breaks it, or actually goes up. But the chance of it just hitting that support level and then just doing this, very, very low in my experience. So I was just like, okay, I don't think, and I still don't think that 15 sats is going to reverse it, but I thought probably get a nice bounce. This doesn't look like a reversal to me yet. And I'd be more than happy to actually be proven wrong on that, because fucking hell, if Dogecoin keeps running again or does a run again, we're in for some good shit. So, I mean, people are always accusing me of being this bear tart. I'd be more than happy if these actually invalidated the bearish thesis that they're kind of writing for itself. Because, I mean, this is clearly a range fake breakout to the upside, and so far it's a bearish retest. Could that change? Obviously. And I'm actually hoping for it to change. I want this to change. I want it to go, actually put in some steam, break to the upside, and then we can just have some fun from here to like here, or maybe even all the way up here. But so far, this is just a weak bounce. Asked you about NEM and had a great buy. Thanks. Can you please take a look at it again? Yeah, I remember that actually. I remember you asking me about it. And I said this is support. But I said I don't know what I said actually. I think I said I wasn't too interested in it because it actually went all the way back down there, which yeah. I don't actually remember. Maybe I'm saying something wrong here. But yeah, I said it was support anyway. So bounce from support. It's pretty nice. This is resistance. This is what you want to see broken, right? So far, it's a retest of resistance, but it's actually like a pretty violent one. So, I mean, this is a bounce of like 60%. That is impressive. And if that resistance breaks, I mean, where's the next one? Up here is none. The next one would be, I don't know, up here maybe. So if you see this breaking, you have a nice move to the upside, I think. And if you're super greedy, which if you're bullish on altcoins, you can be. I think if you're like, oh, old season incoming, all depends on your kind of own outlook, then maybe up here is the play for you. So yeah. Polo Bittrex, it doesn't really matter. Polo Bittrex, the reason why, I mean, I know why you're asking for it because of more history, but all of this old stuff is so long ago that you don't actually have anyone that is actually still around from that time in a position. Or if they are, they don't really give a shit, right? So all of this left history, not too important. I remember this saying like we could bounce from this support into like do this massive head and shoulders kind of thing. I think, was that the last time you asked? I don't actually remember. But yeah, I mean, you could actually make this your price target. I think that's not the worst idea. It's pretty similar to the weekly price target that I actually named before. I mean, that's where I would definitely get everything, like get out of everything and then see where it goes. As long as you're not an investor. Like as a trader, that would terrify me. Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi with an extra I mean, Wi-Fi with an extra I is just the leverage portion of Wi-Fi, right? Not that we don't really have to talk about it too much. But yeah, generally speaking, we've had some nice bounces. I've been looking at NANO. That has actually put in a nice bounce, and I'm gonna keep watch on that. It's like the others, it has retested its range. And like the others, there's a little bit more that it has to put into it. But this is a pretty high momentum bounce, which you always want to see. So it's a pretty nice bounce. We'll see how it moves. from here on out. I would say redraw the range. This is what I'm looking at. This is the range low now. I mean, you could still keep this and keep this as the range low, but then you might be late to the party if it actually starts breaking back into the range. So for me, this is actually exactly at the range low. And if it does manage to get back into the range, where's the target? Range high, which is another like 50%, 60%. And then we can talk about like reversing some of this trend downwards. So yeah. But yeah, some good times. Finally, some bounces. The one thing that I'm a little bit worried about, and this is something where you could actually see like in the history of Bitcoin, generally speaking, when the altcoins start pumping, you want to be extremely careful with your Bitcoin positions, right? It's happened time and time again, right? My entire bear thesis in 2017, right? Like I was the most retarded permabull on most of this way up, right? I mean, it just felt like it could never dump, right? But once we actually started going completely mental, it didn't make any sense anymore. And then we actually started to see the altcoins pop off. This was all in here. Like the altcoins popping off, mostly in here. But in general, we had some crazy moves in here on the altcoins. Didn't have them in here. They suffered in here. And there's one thing to be a little bit careful of is that generally speaking, altcoins start popping and start moving when Bitcoin is actually starting to exhaust itself, right? The one difference that we have right now, which is making it really hard to trade on the bear side, is that you actually have this weird thing, this weird buyer that just pushes it up, right? So that exhaustion that you could be seeing by, or like, I mean, you could name it euphoria as well, right? When people get so euphoric about their Bitcoin gains that they actually start spending it on altcoins, just buying everything because everything is going up. That's why you usually get like the euphoria and the kind of toppy stuff, right? The fact of the matter is, who knows when that guy is going to stop buying or that entity is going to stop buying. So it could be different this time, right? But traditionally, if this wasn't the case, right, and if I didn't see this abnormal buying and this like kind of weird stuff, I'd be looking to kind of hedge off and just see where it all goes. But with this kind of stuff, it's really hard to judge. So for me, it still makes the most sense to kind of just wait for support to break. And if that happens, you know, there's something changed. And then you kind of shift your attention from Bitcoin to the altcoins. And then the thing that I've been saying, which is if Bitcoin takes a massive pullback, these altcoins are going to dump as well. And that's why I'm a little bit careful. That's why I closed Dogecoin, for example. If Bitcoin took a pullback, this would go all the way back to 15 sats, I think. And that's what you have to be a little bit mindful of. But then again, I can't say when that person or that entity is going to stop buying. And until it stops, it's just going to keep going up. So altcoins, generally speaking, and I think I said this like 3 or 4 weeks ago on the stream, be aggressive on the Bitcoin side until altcoins starts popping. In this case, who knows? Who knows? I can't judge the Bitcoin situation because, yeah, it's just abnormal. Have you done XLM? No, I haven't. We can look at XLM. That one is mad, but it's a relatively easy one to trade. I wasn't at home. I was looking at houses and apartments and that kind of stuff. But something that you have to keep in mind when you're trading this stuff is that you have to categorize it, right? XRP and XLM, they always move together. So you see XRP mooning, fucking buy XLM. It's just how it works, right? You see XRP taking a massive, massive spike upwards, people are going to buy XLM because for them, like for most people that have been around for a while, we just know that relationship and they just move together. So if you see that, I think this is like 90%, 95% caused by XRP just mooning. it's always the same. They kind of move in tandem, even more so on the mega pumps, right? So that's in my opinion, the main reason why this moved. And I think in general, categorizing the altcoins is one of the best things that you can do for the altcoin trading. You look at the privacy coins, you make a list. Okay, these are privacy coins. Then you look at the whatever XLM and XRP are, banker coins, if you want to call them that. Doesn't really matter. And then you kind of make a list of these relationships, and then you can see the money cycle from one to the other. I think that's the best advice I can give you on trading altcoin upswings in general, because usually you get one that moves, and then people that know the relationship just ape into the next one, and then that moves as well. So might be time for you to find out what some of these altcoins do and what kind of area they move in, and with what they correlate, and make your money that way. It's one of the best ways to do it, and XLM just proved why that is. But yeah, it broke support, reclaimed support, and just mega mooned in that one candle. I'd say it's 90% based on XRP. And someone asked about XMR. This is pretty weak. I liked it a lot when it broke up here, when it showed this strength into the move up. We talked about me taking profit too early. In the end, it didn't really matter. I took profits here. It moved all the way back to the next resistance and then started dumping. But yeah, I mean, now it's just this. What is this? It's the opposite of this. What do you want to do with those kind of movements? You want to long them. What do you want to do with most of these movements? You at least don't want to long them, right? So for me, it has to kind of break this resistance to be in any shape or form interesting. What other altcoins have relationships similar to XLM and XRP? There's a lot. There's way too many for me to kind of tell you, but I can give you a few. So for example, NEO, right? You know NEO, where is it on my list? I know I have it somewhere there. NEO, right? Let's say NEO mega moons. And I mean, I'm not really sold on it, mega mooning, but let's say NEO mega moons, right? What do? You look at NEO projects, or like in general, you look at, okay, what is NEO? It's a project out of China, right? It's it has its own kind of coins running on it. So one, you look at the coins. You look at the coins with a direct connection, right? So in this sense, you can look at ontology. I don't actually know if it's still on NEO, but I think it is. You can look at all the other ones. You can, I mean, there's lists out there. You can kind of research that yourself. There's a shitload of projects. I don't actually have my list somewhere here, but I'm gonna get it out if this starts moving again. I have it all written down on paper. So coins with direct connection, and then you look at, okay, coins from the same area or whatever. It's mostly for China coins, but I mean, that sounds wrong, but you get what I'm saying. How do we title that? Whatever, it's fine. And then look at that, right? And then you look at coins with similar function. And I think with that, you kind of have most of it. I might remember that, like, there might be more, but I mean, that's a good enough kind of way to go about it. And then you can kind of go from there. You see any of those that have a direct connection or that they have the same kind of narrative going for it. And then you can kind of put them in the list. So yeah, so for example, someone in the chat is saying privacy coins are the ones who are suffering the most. And then you just have your list and you just want to stay away from them, which I'm not saying that's the case, right? I haven't actually looked at Grin and that kind of stuff in a while. But yeah, it's not looking too pretty, right? But in general, like that's kind of how you do it. And then, I mean, you will have to make your own research, right? Look at the coins. I mean, how I started out with the altcoins in early 17 was I literally opened CoinMarketCap, went through the entire list, the entire top 200 list, wrote down what each coin did and what it was for and where it was traded when I needed to know it. And in general, like the narrative, everything for it, right? And I wrote that all down, and then I kind of had an idea how everything works together. So, I mean, if you're not willing to put in that amount of work, then maybe the easy trades like that aren't really for you. But the most obvious easy one is XLM, XRP, and then the NEO, for example, with the coins on the NEO platform, and then Ethereum with the coins that actually make it work better, that kind of stuff. CMC has categories too. Yeah, I mean, even better. That wasn't the case back in the day. You're saying altcoin Bitcoin will suffer if Bitcoin USD will suffer? I think so, yeah. And even if that's not the case, altcoin USD will suffer greatly, I think. So, and that's the thing where the altcoin window is pretty small, right? Because either Bitcoin is going to break all-time high, which we're pretty damn close to, and then I see the altcoin Bitcoin pairs just vanishing, I think, just based on the fact that it's probably going to push up at least like a few hundred, if not 1,000 or 2, and the altcoin pairs just won't be able to keep up. Or you're really so close to all-time high that you might actually see a pullback on Bitcoin where the altcoins wouldn't do so well. If you see ranging here, the altcoins probably are going to do well. So it depends on kind of your vision on Bitcoin. I still don't see an alt season straight from the get-go from here as a given, but that's just my opinion. But I could see them move up a little. And I mean, so far they've done so. They've done the move from support into resistance. And now they have to prove to us whether they can do more or not. And doing more would be reclaiming supports. Fuck, are you going to watch a Real Madrid game, Duck? No. Oh, that's what I thought you were like, oh, fuck, I missed it. No, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not really into football that much anymore. Used to play it, used to watch it. Nowadays, I just watch the charts like a giga nerd. So, I mean, that's just, in general, on the altcoins, right? There's a lot to do while they bounce, right? And these bounces seem very, very significant, and they are if you're catching them right. But they're not bounces that you just wanna like hold forever, right? That said, it's at cycle low. For Dogecoin, for example, that is a cycle low. It could just pull what it has pulled before. And I mean, I'm gonna watch this. If this fractals out the same thing here, I mean, maybe we get giga rich in the future. I don't know. I'm gonna keep watching it, see how it all turns out. But so far, there's no trend reversal on anything, but maybe XRP. So far, these are all bounces back into resistance. Doesn't mean I have to short all of it, because fuck that. I'm sick of being bearish altcoins. I've been bearish altcoins for years and years. Don't need to do that, but so far, like everything that has bounced into the first resistance, and there hasn't been much beyond that. And the moment we get more beyond that, I mean, that'd be fucking great. I just hope it happens, because so far we've not seen it yet. So give me some more of a move, but like the excitement levels are off the charts based off of this move. Like this is off the charts euphoria already. And I know it's based on the USD pairs, which have gone up, but still in comparison, like if the people that are euphoric about the altcoin movements have, like if they just held Bitcoin, they would have actually made more. So it's kind of like, that's where the euphoria is coming in. But it's just based on the fact that people have been holding altcoins and they're finally now seeing gains on the USD pairs, not on the Bitcoin pairs. So I hope that kind of that trend, like that green trend that we have right now, like at least a week of green, just continues on. But I can't kind of co-sign the notion of, okay, old season is incoming. But I could see an old season incoming when Bitcoin actually starts or finishes its retrace. And if a retrace of Bitcoin actually takes the altcoins down with it. Because then you would have the situation where you got a nice altcoin move into a negative Bitcoin move that would shake a lot of people out, and that's an interesting area to buy. Not entirely sure if we're gonna get it, but I'm gonna keep my eyes open and see what's up. Danke, Don. War wie immer eine informative Runde. Habt einen schönen Abend. Gleichfalls. So the guy just said in German that he enjoyed it. So happy to hear that always. Even though like usually I don't. What I try to do is just keep it in English, because otherwise people don't understand, and that's kind of rude to the people that don't understand. This feels more like a March-June 17 altcoin market than early 18 altcoin market. Yeah, kind of. If even that. I mean, the thing is, that's the thing, right? If I'm looking at these Bitcoin pairs, I'm like, okay, I mean, there's some weird euphoria going around, and then you look at the USD pairs, and you're like, okay, obviously there's euphoria going around because people have actually made money for the first time in 3 years. If you've been holding Litecoin, you haven't seen a dime for 3 years, and now you finally seeing like 30% move to the upside. So, I mean, I get why people are excited, and but if you're looking at this, you're not seeing the full picture, in my opinion. The full picture, or like most of the picture, is if you look at both, or if you look at this, where you can kind of see the relationship between Bitcoin and Litecoin, and that isn't yet too pretty, but I mean, it could turn out prettier. What advice would you give to a new trader in terms of trading altcoins from the get-go? Don't get too attached. Most of the time, or like so far all of the time, no matter how good the altcoin is, they've retraced most of their gains. So let's say you get massive gains from your altcoins, don't get married to the coin if you're trading it anyway. Take some profits on the way up. And then if it keeps on going down, don't just blindly add and that. That's not the way to go either. So basic risk management, basically. And treat them as if, I mean, you gotta kind of have to expect them to go or to trend to near zero, in my opinion, most of them anyway. If you don't, you're gonna get stuck. And the thing is, the moment this gets euphoric, let's say this breaks out and then goes on a massive tear. The moment Litecoin is gonna trade at 0.01, people are gonna tell you how fucking great Litecoin is. It's not amazing down here. Litecoin is a dinosaur coin down here. Up here, it's a new paradigm. And up here, you've never seen anything better. So don't get swept by that. Price-wise, like, the coin doesn't change based on the price, even though, I mean, most people kind of act that way. And it's going to get harder and harder the higher it goes up to sell. And don't kind of get swept up in that. And then just enjoy the ride if it does go up. And if it doesn't go up, just cut your bag. And yeah, don't be too married to it. I think that's decent advice. Obviously, it depends on where the market is at. Right now, it's at resistance. But yeah, macro-wise, like if you're trading altcoins, gotta be a little bit more careful than when you're trading Bitcoin. So yeah, that's my piece. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna take I'm not gonna take a nap. I'm actually going to bed, I think, because yeah, it's been a few massive days in the last few days, so need to get some sleep. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks a lot to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see each other on Friday. I don't actually know if we have a guest or not. I am terrible with kind of finding it out beforehand. We haven't really talked about anyone yet. So maybe a last minute guest. We're going to tweet about it anyway. And if not, worst case, you get either me, Cred, or us both. So yeah. Friday, same time. So see you there. Bye-bye.